So here's going to be a demonstration of why it's not great to use optimal timings for every little thing on the Retrotink 4K. I'm playing on the PlayStation TV, which is basically just a consoleized Vita that can output in 480p, 720p, and 1080i. First thing you want to take note of is when you do go to the settings and you want to change the resolution of the PlayStation TV, I have it in 480p. You can change it to 720p, but 1080i is not selectable, even though the Retrotink 4K does support 1080i input. You probably just need to fix the EDID to make that work. The next thing you're going to notice is that when you activate it, you do have to correct the aspect ratio to 16:9 just for the Vita menu, because the menu runs at 480p by 720, and you do need to correct for the menu. The next thing is the just playing a game. We're gonna go ahead and load up Symphony of the Night. Oh, I'm gonna load up Symphony of the Night again. Not there. So you load up Symphony of the Night. It is a PS1 game, and right now it's just on the most generic thing you can put it on for PlayStation TV games. It's doing 16:9 by itself. So the first thing you'll notice is that this screen is very small because this is acting like a PSP screen inside of it. The next thing you'll notice is the PlayStation symbol is the right size because the PlayStation symbol is in 480i, and that just gets line doubled to 480p, so it stays relatively the same size. But we know that we're going to be playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which in gameplay is a 256 octal sampling game. So you go ahead, you select, we're in 480p mode, you want to select 256, because that's what Castlevania plays like. You'll notice right away that everything is sort of zoomed in, and the PlayStation symbol is also pixelated, and that's because to get optimal timing for PS1 games, you have to choose whether you're doing 240p or 480i, and the same applies here. Now, here's the thing. When you load up the menu on Castlevania Symphony of the Night, you'll notice that this is actually bigger than when it needs to be, even though I loaded in optimal timing. Well, that's because the intro and the main menu to Symphony of the Night doesn't play in 256 optimal timing. They play in something different. Here's the main menu for it. As you can see, it's pixelated again. This actually runs at 512, so here we go. We're going to change it to 512. That's the first resolution change. So we're gonna go ahead and change it to 512. And there, it looks great. So we go ahead, press the start button, and immediately you're going to notice everything is too skinny. All of the menus in Symphony of the Night are a different the main menu is a different resolution. And so here we go. That is actually a 384 optimal timing. So we're going to go ahead and select it. That looks normal. That looks great. And we're going to start a new game. Fine. No worries. That looked great. But why is this in widescreen? Well, when you switch to 384 optimal timing and 480p, the Retrotink 4K has to really zoom in on the picture. So here's with the Vita menu on it. We backed out and went back in. And just make sure that when you're switching things, that you're probably making sure that you remember so you don't get freaked out that something breaks. This is normal. It's just that it's tuned to a very specific scene in Symphony of the Night right now. And that is a 320 optimal timing. So we're going to go ahead and switch to it. Look, it looks great. This looks fine. By the way, Symphony of the Night, great game. There are so many changes to optimal timings in this game between loading up the game, getting in a menu, playing the game, loading up the pause screen, all different timings. So we're going to go ahead and skip the cutscene. The cutscene looked great. We're now loading Castlevania. It looks a little bit pixely and a little bit skinny, I believe. Yeah, it looks a little skinny. So Richter looks like he needs something to eat. Let's go ahead and put this into the correct optimal timing, which in this case is going to be 2:56, which is the regular gameplay timing for Symphony of the Night. There we go. Looks better, much better. Now here's the thing, when you pause the game, it looks fine, because in this particular scene, when you pause the game, it doesn't do anything. Now, what about when when you're playing as Alucard instead? Well, let's find out. By the way, again, this looks a little zoomed in, because this is a Vita menu. So if you want this to look correctly, you would have to change it again. I'm not even going to waste my time. What I'm going to do is reset the game to show you guys what it looks like in gameplay when you switch between playing and going into the menu. By the way, again, this is pixelated because this runs in 480i. All right, again, menu looks one way. Sorry, the main screen looks one way, the menu looks another way. Not even going to bother. Okay, great. I loaded up a save, and this is currently set to play exactly like the gameplay for Symphony of the Night. So everything looks normal and everything looks really good. Great. So here we go. When you switch to the menu, it looks different because, again, different optimal timing. You have to set it up differently when you're playing on this. So, sorry, that's not the right menu. This runs at 384. So here you are. And that looks normal. So again, a bunch of different resolutions require a bunch of different profiles. And instead, you could have just, you could have just reset the profile and set it so that the 480p, actually you probably wouldn't even be able to do that in this case. You'd probably want to use a different resolution anyway, but when it comes to Symphony of the Night, you can just switch between that. Maybe for a game that doesn't switch between them too often, you can keep playing on a generic profile, but you just have to keep this in mind when playing on the PlayStation TV.